Hello, everyone. Good evening from the evergreen continent of Africa. You are all welcome to tonight's episode of 3,600 Seconds with Industry Leaders. My name is Patience Abili, your host from Nigeria, and I'm delighted as always to be here with my co-host, Masia Batarampai from Lesotho. Tonight, we are going to be discussing a very important topic that affects all of us, particularly in the African and Black community. We are going to be talking about achieving parity for women in STEM fields. As we continue to celebrate this Women's Month, it is essential that we highlight the challenges that women face in pursuing careers in science, technology, engineering, otherwise known as STEM. We'll be exploring the barriers that prevent women from entering and advancing in fields. And of course, we'll be discussing strategies for achieving parity. For clarity purposes, please, dear viewers, achieving parity means reaching a state of equality or balance between two or more groups. In this case, between men and women in STEM. Parity implies that women have equal representation, opportunities, and outcomes as men in STEM education careers. It means that women have the same access to resources, funding, and networking as men, and that they have to face no barrier or biases that will prevent them from succeeding in STEM. So, in the context of our discussion on this week's episode tonight, achieving parity in STEM means that women are equally represented in STEM fields, holding equal numbers of leadership positions and receiving equal pay for equal work. It's a state where women's contribution to STEM are valued and recognized equally as those of men, and where women feel empowered and supported to pursue STEM careers without facing any obstacles or biases. So, for us to get started, welcome to the show once more. Hi, Masia Bata.
Hi,
Hello, how is your day? How is Lesotho day?
the city is very awesome today. We're having rains, which is good for farming. So it was really a great day today. Greetings from Lesotho.
Oh, oh yes. Greetings. Well, I'm here in Nigeria too, so our farms are happy as well. It's going to be a very fruitful season. It's going to be a very fruitful farming season for all of us in Africa, no doubt. So, Marseille, let's start by looking at the current state of women in STEM in Africa. What are some of the challenges that women face in pursuing careers in STEM fields? You know, like people always say, charity begins at home. So for me, as an African who lives in Nigeria, I can attest that one of the significant challenges women face in pursuing careers in STEM is the lack of access to quality education and training. Many girls in Nigeria, particularly in our rural areas, they don't have access to schools that offer STEM subjects, or even schools that lack necessary resources as well as qualified teachers. It is sad that the only access to anything that is related to STEM, which is mathematics, that mathematics should be the most popular in this part of the world. Sometimes they lack quality teachers or qualified teachers to take them on that subject. Most schools will say they don't have much teachers, so one person may have to carry out the entire load, and possibly that might not even be his area or specialization. He hasn't really advanced when it comes to mathematics. So for some schools to leave that place blank, it's really quite disheartening. even heard that in the Caribbean, specifically in Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and in Barbados, some studies have shown that women in STEM, as in the STEM field, that they face significant barriers, which includes limited access to funding and resources. You'll be surprised too to find out that in the United States of all countries on this God's great earth, that there
Okay, I think we are now challenged by the weather since I cannot hear you, patients. Oh, patience is now muted, but we can still continue with the conversation as she was highlighting the underrepresentation of women in those countries that she mentioned. So, our focus today is not really about inequality. Most of the time when we present topics such as achieving parity, accelerating action for women in STEM, normally it's like we want to fight or we want to engage in conflict. But that is not really the case. What we want to achieve through this conversation is to motivate and encourage women to be engaged in STEM. Welcome back, patients. Okay, this is one of the challenges that we have faced. I'm not sure if I can say in Africa that the network is one of the challenges that we face in most African countries. So, as we continue with the conversation, let's look at the impediments as they date way back in history. You find that the men who made it in STEM that we get to talk about today as our references in the books and theories, we have Aristotle, we have Pythagoras, we have Newton, and so on and so forth that you know. And these are all men. So that's what we want to address today. That's what we want to say, women, what is really the problem? What is the hindrances into women engaging into STEM and other aspects of science? So when we go back, we realize that since childhood, we notice significant differences between girls and boys while growing up. Even in the communities, as children are playing there, you're able to identify, say, the activities that boys engage with in, the activities that girls engage in. Most of the time, you realize that girls are into more easier activities, while boys are into more complex activities that require the use of the minds. Yes, their cognitive abilities of the two gender already decides the professions or the careers that are going to engage in the future. Welcome back, Patience.
thank you, Masay. And here we
Oh,
are. So at least we've been able to
yes,
see all these challenges women face in STEM, network in STEM.
yes, yes.
Hmm.
Network is the
Anyway,
problem.
this is
Yes,
something that
yes.
we control. Hmm.
All right.
So for the purpose of our conversation today, we
So,
are only focused on the what we can control, not network issues that is beyond our control, but at least the acquisition of the skills
exactly.
that is well within.
Yes. So we'll try as much as we can to just continue the conversation, even though we are challenged. No problem with that.
Sure. I noticed you were talking about what some women in your locality or how they feel towards STEM courses. or the STEM field, how they feel that the men can do it better than they are, more like resigning themselves to fate, right? While I was on my way back, trying to
Yes,
struggle my way in, I think I heard something of that kind. Okay.
yes. So I
It's
wanted to beg.
interesting that these stereotypes and biases exist everywhere because even here in Nigeria, there was a recent that showed that girls as young as 10 years, they feel that boys knows maths more than them. They can never know maths. They
Okay.
can't be very good in mathematics the way the boys are. So it's not really something that is peculiar to where you are, it's everywhere. Similar study was revealed in Kenya.
Yeah.
Then if you
Mm-hmm.
there was this report. This report from by a study by University of Cape Town in South Africa, where they found out that women in STEM fields face significant barriers, which includes limited access to funding sources, stereotypes and biases just to water down their desires to function well in STEM.
Okay. So we cannot hear her, but we can continue with the conversation. You're also invited as our viewers to
Okay,
engage into the conversation with us. Yes, patience.
okay, okay, all right. So let me ask, what do you think are the barriers these women face, or the barriers they must have placed on themselves? I think that's what we should even be more interested in. Some of the significant barriers to women in STEM. What do you think they are? So when we are able to identify these barriers, we can better address it and see how best we can achieve parity in this field.
All right. Um, Thank you for the question, patience. And I like the fact that you mentioned that the barriers that they may pose on themselves, because it's not necessarily that the barriers are only from the society, from the teachers, from the parents.
Hmm,
Yes. So you
very
raised a
true. Very true.
very yes. So I came across
Hmm,
two theories to help us understand the barriers. So we are talking about the
okay.
self-determination theory. Yes. So the self-determination theory emphasizes that your passion, your interest is really from within. It is from yourself. Meaning,
Hmm,
we can look
hmm,
at the intrinsic reasons why women do not engage or why women engage. I want to take a look at the 2 points: why they don't engage and why they engage, and how we can help and encourage those who are demotivated to engage into STEM. So, um, like I pointed out, that even from childhood, already our interests as boys and girls vary from that very young stage. Most of the time, we are motivated by the people we live with. Let's look at our families, because the family is the primary agent of socialization. Remember that before you interact with anyone outside, you start in the family. So, like you mentioned, the stereotypes, they also emerge from the family.
hmm,
You find that family, we already believe that boys can do better than girls in the mathematics and the science subjects. So that
hmm,
notion goes from generation to generation. You find that even if a girl struggles just a little, and then we start saying, oh no, that's because it's a girl. She will never ever understand mathematics. That's how it has always been in the past. So it is one of the barriers. Remember, the things that contribute more into who you become, they stem from childhood. So imagine if we grew up in environments or in
mm,
families like that, where it is a belief that boys should be the ones to excel in mathematics. So um, the courage, the motivation should start from the families. We should believe in girls that they can achieve more,
mm,
they can perform well in mathematics and in science. Even the projects that we assign our children into, you find that I say my boy child should do something on the fridge, on the electrical appliances in the house, but the girl should start sweeping, washing dishes, things like that. Already, that is going to create a difference into how they think and how they tackle um, the problems that they come across in those areas of science and technology. So moving from the family, then we get into the society, the communities in which we live. So the
mm,
notion still carries on even here. We have so much trust or belief or confidence into the male children that they're going to be pilots, they're going to be engineers, you know. Even the conversations that we engage in as people in the society, they're around that. So that influences children to be directed already, even from that young age, into certain careers or professions. And
mm,
mostly boys are the ones going to be highly represented in the science and technology fields. So we also should start getting rid of that belief because it gives girls less chances. You don't give them opportunities to show themselves. Actually, we are not even sure if they cannot excel in those areas because we've already um, made up that belief in our minds. So they should be given opportunities where they can showcase their talents in science and technology as well. So even at schools, the teachers, our mathematics teachers, our biology teachers, physics, you know, they already focus
mm,
more on boys because boys grasp concepts quicker than girls. Going back to the point that you raised about a
mm,
barrier to oneself, you realize that even girls themselves have very low interest into those subjects. For example, if you try to reflect to your high school days, there were science fairs. Try to look at the number of girls who engaged in those science fairs and those science projects. We had no interest at all. We really were not interested. So even girls as well, they should have a belief in themselves that this is the area that we want to engage in. This is the area that we want to tap in. Not only focus on being a teacher, those careers that are believed to be women careers. And our peers and the people we
mm,
engage with. Yes. If you engage with people who
mm,
already have a negative towards science and mathematics, even if you're going to make it, just because you associate with people who are already negative, then it's going to be difficult for you to go through those barriers. Yes, I think I've highlighted a few points here. I talked about the families, the parents, the society, communities, education, our teachers, and our peers as well. So those are most of the obstacles that hinder us into tapping into the science, and mathematics field. I mean, having pointed out those barriers, it does not really mean we cannot engage and make a massive impact into that field, which is why we're having this conversation today, because we want to say, girls, women, let's rise up and engage into the STEM field. So I
Mm.
think now we can talk about uh, solutions that we have, since we already highlighted the obstacles. So what can we say the solutions are to these obstacles?
Of course, it's necessity, and that's the reason why we have this conversation in the first place. The solutions are necessary because we know very well that having women in STEM necessary for the countries, any country at all, for their GDP to rise and for a lot of profitable things to take place, since women are more inclined towards entrepreneurship, starting businesses and selling them. At least the studies are there, they can speak for themselves. So all they need to do is to withdraw what we just discussed. So now we are talking about how we can navigate through these challenges, the strategies to achieve parity for women in STEM. I want to highlight just two main strategies. Of course, there are many, and there are other solutions that one can outline, but let me just focus on these two main strategies. The first one is for us to introduce girls to STEM, and to every field that is related to STEM at a young age. Girls should be introduced to STEM at a young age. This can be achieved through programs such as coding clubs, science fairs, and math competitions. I understand that some schools have science clubs as well. You know, clubs for sciences, technology, and the rest. That's a good one. But we can do more, owing to the fact that things are changing. A whole lot is changing in our time, so we should focus on this. Okay, like in Nigeria now, I want to cite an example. The Nigerian Women in Technology, that is an organization that provides coding classes and mentorship programs for girls, for young girls. And I'm sure we have similar organizations like this across Africa and other Black communities around the world. Because I've also heard about the Sawais um, uh, in South Africa. That is the South African Women in Science and Engineering.
Oh, yes, so it is important to have such programs that should motivate younger girls and women to engage in STEM. Because if they're engaged from a young age, then the interest is already ignited and they can carry that into the future careers and professions. We also have a foundation here in Lesotho, the Prime Minister's STEAM Foundation. It focuses on the youth and the women. So such programs are fundamental into igniting interest into women and girls. Hello, patients? Okay, so we can still continue the conversation. You can look around in a country where you are based, the kind of programs that you have that relate to STEM. All right, you can continue.
All right. Okay, so before I was weeks away, I was talking about the first strategy, which had to do with introducing young girls to STEM fields at a young age, because these same girls are the ones that will grow up to be women in STEM. And definitely, they will be part of noble organizations that are existing to assist us to achieve this goal at a grander stage. Another strategy I want to mention is that provision should be made for scholarships and funding opportunities for women in STEM. Yes, this can help to level the playing field and provide women with resources that they need to succeed in STEM careers. I still want to make example from Nigeria, although we are a work in progress when it comes to things like this. We still have more to do. But so far, we are not really doing badly because the Women in Technology, the Nigerian Women in Technology organization that I mentioned earlier, they have been providing scholarships and grants for women in tech. This has really gone a long way to assist them. There are other organizations too, other training institutions, mainly about tech. In fact, this calls to mind one that I know very well. I've even been a beneficiary of the training before, years back. They call them the DigiGirls. Yes, it was founded by a very passionate and most awesome young lady I've ever met in STEM. Confidence Tadley, that's her name. She's one of the best cybersecurity experts in the world because she's not even in Nigeria currently, but she's making lots of waves. She's the founder of DigiGirls, okay, and they've been training girls in tech, women and girls in tech for free, thousands
Wow.
every year. I'm very sure there's an ongoing cohort right now. The beautiful thing there is that they are not, she's not focusing on just women in Nigeria, but as long as you're an African, you can key in, you can apply and join the cohorts. They train you on data analysis, they train you in the field of UI, UX designing. I think mainly non-coding courses though, not coding courses per se. But the field of tech is wide. Not everybody
Yeah.
must code. So you go there, they train you, and you become an expert in the field of e-commerce. You become an expert in the field of I think web designing, if I am not mistaken, and graphic designing and the rest. That's a very good one. And there are a whole lot out there coming up with their yearly cohorts of training from time to time. So these are the kind of organizations we need that can offer scholarships because there is this study that revealed that women and girls are more likely to do well in STEM if they are well mentored. If you have them mentored right, they definitely will do well. They need someone
Yeah.
that will be more like a role model to them. When you see your fellow woman breaking barriers in tech, you want to stand up. It's not even the case of competition. No, someone is trying to stir you up. You can do it too. Get up. Remove whatever thing that is in your mind. Throw away the
Yeah.
stereotypes, biases. She can do it. You can do it too. And the sky is
Definitely.
big enough for everyone to fit in. She may be
Mm.
good in cyber, but if you want to go into tech, you may not really find the purpose in cybersecurity. How about you going to for e-commerce, especially if you're the kind of person who is business inclined and you love bringing businesses together and helping them to make profits? Why don't you go into maybe the field of UI UX designing or graphic design if you are in love with anything designs or designing? Many people have eyes for colors. They make things happen. They have this magic touch. So they can go for that. I mean, there's something for everyone when it comes to tech.
Yeah.
So if coding is too complex for you, it is not your thing, it's fine. There are others that you can dive into. After all, not every man codes too. Not all. So many guys are rushing courses on no code designs. They are now building websites without coding. They are building apps too without coding. And you see a lot of guys rushing in there, same as women. So not everyone must code. The thing there is that we have to break even. The constraints women face in STEM are much, but the good thing there is that there are always solutions and initiatives, that can come up to help us. So when you help girls like that, they will surely come up. Then again, there
Yeah,
should be networking opportunities. Very important. It is often said that your network is your net worth. So
exactly.
when you create networking events, conferences, and online communities that bring women in STEM together to share their experience, advice, as well as resources, those women who are contemplating joining this particular field, you see that they'll be fired up to be part of it. The ones who are actually halfway in, halfway out, they will finally take a stand and do better despite challenges. Let it be that the only challenge you have is that which you cannot control. Like what you've been seeing, I think so far since we started this live, I've been knocked out by the network twice, if not more than twice. These are the kind of challenges that we cannot control. We have little or
Yeah.
no control. Let this be the only challenge. So it's not every time the network will be messy. Sometimes the network may behave. So use that period and do something for yourself. Is really important. Networking opportunities. From time to time, there are always conferences, there are meetups, events held, by the tech community, even in my locality. A lot is coming up very soon. Women in tech or women tech makers. I think that is sponsored by Google Tech Academy or by Google Developers Academy. They're the ones really sponsoring that. And very soon they're coming up. Celebrate the Women's Day, the tech way. Okay, so these are opportunities for women who desire to be in STEM to find their way, to find their footing. At the same time, there should be
Yeah.
ongoing training programs. We've already mentioned some of these programs, like Girls Who Code organization, at least for those who really want to know what it's like to code. But if you don't want to code, you can please join these other organizations I mentioned. There are a lot of them. Do your findings. Google is a friend. You have one in your locality. You have
Yeah.
the ones that can offer you training across the globe. If you are not so sure, you can hit the net and find a way in maybe all the way to Udemy, right? Or Coursera. You can even find a way to this online school. I think Allison Online School. They offer free coding classes and other tech related courses for you to build your skill set in tech. We should not also forget the
Mm.
importance of flexible work arrangements. If women can be offered flexible work arrangements, such as telecommuting, as in flexible work hours, parental leave for those who have children, who are family women, but they still want to make something out of their lives, and also to support their work life harmony. Remember, I said work life harmony, not work life balance. Because whether we like it or not, there can never be anything like work life balance. Your work demands
Yeah.
time from you, just as your life does, just as your family will always do. And if you are following them just the way they are, thinking that you're going to strike a balance, you will die of burnout. So we're talking about supporting these women to achieve work-life harmony. These are part of the things that can help women to excel in STEM. I recently met a very amazing lady. She's really amazing, very awesome. She's from Malawi. She started coding at I think she said she's the late bloomer because she was already in her 40s, almost her mid 40s when she started learning how to code. And right now, she's so wonderful. She's one of the best hands when it comes
Wow.
to software developers. If you're pointing at women who are software developers or software engineers in Africa, you surely mention her. She's so good at what she does. As it stands, some organizations across the globe, they do reach out to her and they work with her. With the speed of light, she can deliver. She can build any product very well. And she started learning very late, in her 40s,
Mm.
early 40s. She's not in her mid 40s, and she's so good with what she does. So there should be nothing to hold any woman back. But research has shown that
Yeah.
flexible work arrangement can help to improve, the way women's life and work can harmonize or synergize, and also help to reduce unnecessary turnover, which is so common in the tech ecosystem. There's always this high rate of employees turnover. It can help to reduce it. So if there are flexible arrangements, more women can find their way into tech. They can break that bias thinking that they are too old. Some will say once you turn to when you get to 40, your brain gets cold. Anything you did not learn before you get to 40, forget about it. Just live your life and wait until the day you die. It's crazy. Whoever thought? What is
Mm.
that? Where did they learn that from? What are their sources? I would really like to know where they quoted that from. Who did the findings? Based on what premises? So we should please try our best possible to break these unnecessary stereotypes. Then another solution is unconscious bias training. Yes, unconscious bias training. This is about us providing training on unconscious bias to help organizations
Mm-hmm.
recognize and address the issue of being unnecessarily biased when hiring, promoting, and funding where women are in particular. Because they find it easy to release funding to men. They find it easy to hire men. They find it easy to promote these men. Sometimes the women there are the high flyers. But for a lot of reasons, I don't really want to go so deep into many of the reasons because some tables may be shattered. So let me just let that be. Yes. But these people know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. But primarily, I would not
Yeah.
overlook the case of insecurity, personal insecurities. When a woman seems too sharp, a woman seems too smart or to be too intelligent for your liking, you find out that some persons will start having this feeling of inadequacies. More like a woman's confidence reminding you of your insecurities. No, such unconscious biases should be broken. It should be stopped. We are all, as in, we are all partners in progress. Research has shown that unconscious bias training in organizations have helped them to break such biases and improve on diversity when it comes to the workforce. Diversify. There should not be anything like women in leadership. It is just leadership. When a
Mm.
man is a leader in an
Yeah.
organization, you always refer to the leadership, the leadership. But once a woman becomes or attains to that leadership role, you hear them say things like women leader. No, there should not be anything like men leader or women leader. A leader is a leader. We are there to achieve a common goal and not to start comparing genders. This is why there is always cases of gender wars around. That's for people who have energy for small fights. So keep whatever issues, whatever biases aside, keep whatever inclination towards insecurity or um, maybe low esteem. Really, you should not feel bad when you meet somebody who is wiser than you. You only think they're wiser than you because that's what your mind tells you. No one is wiser than you.
Yeah.
We are all intelligent in our own way. We are all wise in our own way. It's just like what Albert Einstein said. When you judge a fish in the river by its inability to jump from one tree to another the way the monkey does, that fish will live the rest of its life thinking it is a failure or it is a fool. But can the monkey swim? Can the monkey even withstand the coldness of the river? Don't forget that the fish is a cold-blooded animal, whereas the monkey is warm-blooded. So we all have our unique capabilities. We have our unique abilities. We have our unique skills. And we are meant to synergize this together to create something wholesome. What's the competition?
Mm.
What's the the low sense of self form? What's the insecurity all about? So please, let there be
Yeah.
unconscious bias training. Organizations should please focus more on that. They will need it,
Yeah.
including those who are venture capitalists. When a man brings a business idea or a group of men brings a business idea, you tend to pay more attention to them than when it is brought by women. You think that the women may not really have much to say. Oh, they are yet to tell us about some kitchen dynamics. Oh, yeah. So you think women's places are in the kitchen? Don't forget that is where the knife is. On a lighter note, though. All right. So it's very important we also pay attention to funding and scholarships. That is one of the
Yeah.
best parts. All eyes should be on this aspect if we really want to achieve parity in accelerating action for women in STEM. There should be
Yeah.
scholarships and funding opportunities for women. Offer funding and scholarships specifically to
Mm.
them to support their education and research, at least for those who wish to go so deep. We already talked before about girls being mentored right from when they are younger, so schools should pay attention to the science and maths subjects, also introducing some subjects from technology and the likes. But now we're talking about women who
Yeah.
are blooming in tech. So there should be
Yeah.
funding opportunities. A lot really wish to go in there, but they lack the finances. It's a case of the spirit is eager, but the flesh is weak. In this case, their spirit is eager, but their pockets, their wallets, their bank accounts are weak. So please come in. Remember, when we train a woman, we train a whole nation, we train a whole generation, as a matter of fact. We take delight in listening to history being read to us about women who broke so much barriers in their time. If they didn't do that, we have
Mm.
them as role models today. Women can do anything, girls can do anything. So far as it is good, it is legit. Give them the chance and at least support them. Don't be attracted by their light and attempt to dim it. No, help let their light shine. No one is competing.
Mm.
Okay, there is no way, as in a candle stands to lose nothing by lighting another candle. And this now goes to our policy makers. Please pay attention to certain policy changes. This is crucial. Okay, there should be advocacy for policy changes that support women in STEM, such as
Mm.
parental leave, child care support, and anti-discrimination laws. There's nothing wrong in going through the existing laws of the land, the constitutions. Sometimes these laws are padded. Constitutions in various countries are padded. Sometimes they are edited. Sometimes more bits are added. This is the right time for it to be done because research has shown that policy changes can improve diversity and inclusion in STEM fields. And now we're talking about women in STEM.
Mm.
So please, our policy makers should pay attention to this. At the end of the day, they're the ones that will be happy. Which country would not be happy to have a woman going out there to break barriers in STEM, coming back with a trophy to
Yeah.
say? Everyone will sing their praises. They will even tell you the particular part of the country she's from. Everyone wants to achieve success. But why is it that it's difficult for everyone to want to, support the achievement of that success? So we can do better. Do
Mm.
better, please. Uh, we
Can
we
do.
thank there are some
Yeah.
initiatives and organizations that have been doing their best in their own way. We appreciate them. I mentioned Girls Who Code. Okay, it's a non-profit organization that is providing free coding classes and education to girls, training them. Okay. Then there is the Women in Technology International Organization. I think I mentioned them earlier too. We really thank them for their efforts, trying to achieve a global support for women in tech through networking, mentorship, and education. They're really doing a good job. Of course, more women are needed. If you don't show up, how can they mentor you? If you don't show up, how can they train you? If you don't show up, how can you network with others that have like minds like you and achieve the parity we so much wish for? We also have the STEM Academy. That's an
Yeah.
organization. They came up with this successful initiative, to provide STEM education and training to the underrepresented groups, including women. It's a wonderful organization. I think they train both men and women, so people can find them out. The STEM Academy. Find them out and see how you can launch your way into STEM. Then there's the National Science Foundation. Okay, National
Yeah.
Science Foundation's Advanced Program. That is a program that supports women who are already in STEM careers. Okay, for them to go further. So they support them as well through funding, mentorship, and networking. As it is believed that these women have gotten enough education they need, to advance. So they only help them to go further. You hear about women creating wonderful organizations, like the case of Confidence Tively, the owner of or the founder of DigiGirls Academy. This is what we're talking about. They are there to assist women achieve all this. So these are
Yeah.
the solutions. At least I can part with for today. There are lots of them, but we cannot exhaust them all anyway. But these are enough for anyone, especially our dear women who are listening to us now. Start from somewhere. Just start. Okay? After all, in this life, a baby started walking, right? By you see them walking with shaky legs, but they were crawling first. So just start. You can crawl, you can lie on the floor and be moving your bodies until you start learning how to walk in STEM. By all means, just move. Start, make that move today. By this time next year, you will thank yourself. And of course, the society will thank you for taking that bold step. And there are others watching you. Don't think people are not watching. They are watching what you do. If you give up, you only help others to give up on their dreams. All right. So, Marseille, is there any solution you have in mind that possibly I did not touch on that you would like to share?
Oh, yeah, I do have some, but I want us to go back to that solution of role modeling that you pointed out.
Okay.
So, yeah, role modeling works efficiently. You see, if you see, like you mentioned, a lady who started at 40, that already is motivating me to start doing something now. I believe it is motivating another woman as well who is watching us right now that there is no age where you cannot start.
Hmm.
So role modeling is really important, not only to young girls, but to women in general. Let's look at our previous episode guest, Dr. Ramatla Peng. Remember, Dr. Ramatla Peng is a mathematics doctor
Yeah.
in the Wits University of South Africa, and this university is one of the brightest universities in Africa. Yet we have a women doctor of mathematics there. So she's one of the role models that we can look up to and say, if this woman was able to be a doctor in mathematics, then it means we have potential. We should not limit ourselves.
Hmm.
Believe me, talking, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do next to tap into the STEM field.
That.
Yes,
I love that.
because indeed it is one of the aspects that women are afraid, I think. Yes, we have that anxiety when we have to tap into the STEM aspect. We have the belief that we cannot make it there, that no, we cannot excel, we cannot do well, only men can do certain things.
Hmm.
Um, Looking at our country, Lesotho, the Minister of Communications and Tech, a very young woman. a very young woman. And if women could look up to her that our minister is a woman and she's doing excellently, then we can do that as well as other women. Patience also talks about the women who started the programs. We also have such women here in Lesotho who are encouraging other women to participate in coding and other technology and engineering aspects. So role modeling is really important and works wonderfully in ways that you could not imagine it can work. We need also support programs like she talked about. So those could be educational support programs where we can encourage our children to engage in such programs. If you start at a young age, their minds are going to be sharp and they're going to develop skills so that as they grow older, they're able to tap into the STEM field. And really, the science, technology, and engineering and mathematics field is one of the most excellent fields where we see the most careers and professionals, which are very important in our daily lives. Let's look at the pilots. Piloting is one of those areas where, as a young child, you're looking at somebody operating an aeroplane, you are so fascinated. But then, because of the barriers that we mentioned, you find yourself not engaging in. So today, we just want to say, let's focus more into STEM. Let us ignite our passion into this category, into this field. And the action is from one individual to another. From today, we're going to talk our children, we're going to talk with another women to encourage them to engage more into STEM. We need to nurture, you know, and put that belief, that self assurance, and the confidence that we can make it as women in this field. Um, Also, we need to maximize our potential ability. Remember, patients, when we're in the global mentorship program, they talked about the potential ability that you need to maximize and your strengths. That when you know your strengths, then you're able to compensate on your weaknesses. I think we should employ that. Yes, we should employ that. It will help us not to have any fear of tapping into anything that we want to achieve. So, really, by the barriers that we pointed out, patients also pointed out the solutions that can help encourage us as women to take charge into the STEM fields. Let us maximize our potential. Okay, no problem with the network, but let us really take charge as women, show our abilities, engage into those opportunities that are thrown to us. Most of the time, even if we see opportunities, we still have the fear to engage into. So let us seize the opportunities. These days there are so many programs that encourage women to engage in STEM because it has come to the realization that women are reluctant to step into the STEM aspect. So let us take advantage of those programs. You look at the country where you are, the area where you are, there are such programs. Just try. Like patients emphasize that you can start today. Yes, that you can take action today. Let us going to start action and engage in this. Yes, patients.
Yes, that's a very wonderful recap. I love that. It is
Mm,
down to taking action starting today. Indeed, that's the. I love the insight you just shared now, Marseille. I really appreciate that. And I also love the fact that you've challenged yourself to start something in tech. Every woman should be in
Yeah.
tech. It
Yeah.
will help us individually,
Mm,
whether we are business people or we are workers or anything we are doing. Some way, somehow, tech will always come through for us. Well,
yeah.
to our viewers, I believe that there will be spurred to action now. I'm very sure. I'm really sure that in this special month for women in particular, our women or our female viewers, they should think seriously about how to accelerate action when it comes to being in STEM. You must not be a registered science student in your high school before you be or you become a woman in STEM. Okay, you can also find a way in tech, whether you are a graduate of some art courses or science courses or social science courses. We don't want to know. The tech ecosystem don't want to care. Get the work done. Can you do it? Yes. Right. Let's get to it. That's just what it's all about. Okay. So in conclusion, achieving parity for women in STEM requires multifaceted approach. Okay, that addresses the various barriers and challenges that women face. So we need to introduce girls to STEM fields at young age, provide scholarships and funding opportunities, and create inclusive workplaces that can provide role models and mentorships for these women and girls. We also need to raise awareness, just like what we've done now. We should not end here. More voices should be heard. We should raise more awareness about the importance of STEM, okay, for girls and women, and challenge the cultural and societal norms that have been discouraging girls from pursuing the STEM careers. Enough of shaming these girls, enough of writing them off as if they can never do anything. Pay attention to everyone.
Mm,
Okay? When it comes to the brain cells, there's nothing like men or male, the male brain or the female brain. The brain is brain. If you don't use it, you will lose it. So please.
indeed, we should start paying attention, collaborating, communicating, and accelerating action for women in STEM. We can make it. We have the ability, we have the potential. And the point that patients raised is that we are not really talking about inequality fighting. No, we are talking about equality and inclusiveness in the workplace and the society and the schools, in every institution and aspects of our lives. That's why we want to highlight and emphasize today that women should be capacitated, they should embrace diversity, and they should be equipped. In that way, we are going to accelerate action for women. And women should believe in themselves.
Hmm,
If you start believing in yourself, then you're going to do great things.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with. Very important. We should believe in ourselves. Okay. Nobody have the right to tell you off. Nobody can even tell you off without your permission. So let's believe in ourselves. We can do anything. That's a good one, I say. So together we can achieve parity for women in STEM and create a more diverse STEM community for both men and women. Thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. And we'll see you all same time next week on 3600 Seconds with Industry Leaders. We hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as we did. So, Masay, do you have any parting shot for our viewers before we say bye?
It was really wonderful to engage with them today. And if they have anything to share, please feel free to share. Even if you view this after this on the live streaming, please share your views, please share your comments, or anything that you can point out. Thank you so much for your time today and see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.